veto some maps out they did not like. The maps remaining, though, are Securus Plateau, Shattered Temple, Xel'Naga Caverns, and Tal'Dorei Malta. They are the remaining maps for the loser 2 pick.
That's a smorgasbord of very popular maps, and will no doubt provide us some fantastic games. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I bring in the one and only Bling from Team Dignitas. He is in the orange trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the east, versus his opponent in the close air position, the one and only Lau. He is in the red trunks, playing for Team Infused, and he is to the north.
And this is, to be honest, going to be the true test for Bling to see can he compete at a decent level consistently. Taking a big loss like at the ECL is pretty hard to take. The thing is that the question which revolves around that is, can you get back up from a loss like that against a rival opponent? Because if you can't, you will literally stay under his thumb for the rest of your StarCraft 2 career. So now it's down to him, and if he can overcome that, then there's no reason for him to continue his training, continue to represent the UK in the World Cyber Games Grand Finals.
Yeah, he's got to go for it. And the thing is, he's so hungry for this as well. We spoke to Bling before this, and he said he wants to win this so badly that he's going to play 110%. There's no real doubt about that. That's not to say that Lau won't either. He is equally hungry for this particular victory, and we'll see just how he does. A little bit of an initial supply bot there by Lau, only a couple of seconds. He puts down his supply depot a little bit late, immediately then into the barracks.
And we actually see a 12 gateway down for Bling here, which is a bit indicative of aggression early on. I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, you know, the difference between 12, 13, and 14. 12 is very aggressive, where 14 is very passive, very economically based. But now we do see 12, so we'll have to see how does Bling want to follow this up. And we'll have to see, does he keep the probe in there for the maximum amount of time? Where does that probe go eventually?
Yeah, he'll be able to get some great scouting information initially. Of course, he's the guy that scouted first. Lau went in the wrong direction. Bling did not. So nice look at the draw right there for him. Taking a bit of damage on the probe. Nothing he really needs to worry about too much. And he also spots the positioning of the barracks and things like that. So we'll see what kind of information he can gather and how this is really going to affect his strategy going forward. The gateway on 12, of course, allows his Cybernet score to come down a little bit quicker. That unlocks the warp gate research, which is where things really start to blossom out for any kind of Protoss player. It looks like Bling is perhaps going to skip the Zealot. No, he's going to go for it there. A little bit late on that, needless to say, because he put the Cyber core down immediately afterwards.
And the probe is chased away. Now, where is that probe going to go? Is it going to go home? Is it going to stay around? He does not want to lose that probe, though. If he does lose it, that's straight up. He's not going to be aggressive. Meantime, still on one gas, though. The probe is retreating. The Marine will... Well, I don't think the Marine should follow out too far. And if this probe gets cornered up on the Xel'Naga tower, that's pretty bad for Bling. And he's trying to get away, and he does just manage to scrape away.
Yeah,
meanwhile, the Zealot is going to get rid of the SCV now. SCV is going to have to leave very, very shortly. And still, toe-to-toe so far. In the base of Lau, though, we do have a Reaper with that first tech lab. He will be able to go into the base of Bling to see, is this aggression going down? And now the third pylon has been built inside the base of Bling. I think he's just playing ultra safe with that fast gateway. I doubt he was going to full gate from here now as that pylon does go down, but he's still possible, but I don't think so now.
Yeah, well, I think at this point, in the first game of the Best of 5 series, what you want to do is try and feel out your opponent as best you can. You want to figure out what is his game plan, how is he playing, what's his mindset. That's the best way to figure it out, of course, is to play ultra safe. And then if you want to do something a little bit more aggressive, a little bit riskier, then you can do that. Bling shut down that scout from the Reaper almost immediately. That's great, and that, of course, allows him to start off his Nexus down at the bottom there. Note the concussive shell was started and is now almost finished for Lau, who is now putting down a reactor. So this is your sort of basic 2 barracks build for the time being. He can easily transition out of that. He can easily expand out of that. He is sitting on a Reaper. He does have a couple of those Marauders. So it is both players are actually playing incredibly safe right now.
Yeah, and there goes the command center. Double racks is the safest opening to get an expansion up as fast as possible without cutting too many corners, without making too many risks. And it does finally go down. Meanwhile, a lot of Marines are being made out and Marauders. We do have the double gateway going to a total of 3. The robotics facility going down, and a lot of chrono boost saved up. The reason for this is he can immediately start warping his gateways if he is under pressure. If not, he can go into getting that observer out faster, into getting more probes out. Meanwhile, the Reaper is finally, well, is it finally going to go in and get some information? It's waypointed into the base, and hopefully he will be at the timings on everything, allowing Lau to simply move down and get that probe production up nice and fast.
Yeah, he sees the timing of the transfer, which is really, really good information. He knows now exactly when this went down. The Stalker was not able to shut down the Reaper. He gets some information, but he does miss the robotics facility.
And look at that, Bling still keeping all this chrono boost up. He has no idea still what is going on in this game. There are so many different deviations you can do with Reaper Expand. It can be the simple Reaper Expand. It can be adding on a bunch more barracks, getting fast stim, and going for a large timing attack. So he's chrono boosting the observers out. I wouldn't be surprised as well if he got 2 here. The Reaper does go down though, so that's a 1 up there for Bling, but obviously nothing too big now. The bunker is going down on the lower ground, stim going, the factory's being gunned as well, and there comes the second observer now. As soon as Bling sees that he's safe to go ahead and chrono boost probes, I'm sure he'll immediately go into that.
Yeah, I can hardly doubt that, honestly. He does have a fairly significant probe lead. Admittedly, he is going to be up against 2 orbital commands. Lau doing, this is actually something we're seeing from Lau quite a bit. He doesn't tend to build the orbital command first on his second command center. He moves down, he wants to start mining from it pretty much immediately, and he doesn't really end up getting the extra mule initially, but he can get his economy started. He can start building SCVs immediately as well if he so desires, or of course he can then go into the command center. 2 bunkers down there, Lau playing so incredibly safe, which for Lau actually is fairly unusual. He's big into the early game harassment, but I think Bling is just not giving him an opportunity.
Well, toe-to-toe in the grand finals, nobody wants to make a mistake, nobody wants to throw away an advantage, and immediately now Bling, as soon as he scouts, chrono boost the Nexus, screams up to 43 probes, versus only 27 SCVs. Chrono Boost helps out so much. And now we have the double forge out by Bling. He loves this, to get double upgrades, really push that. And as mentioned earlier, that is one of Lau's weaknesses. He falls behind in upgrades so often that can really be the game-winning decision already this early on.
Yeah, there's a very real possibility of that. Bling has a number of options at this point. He doesn't want to go in for a full assault. Lau, funnily enough, is actually so paranoid of an attack right now that he's got 4 SCVs just hanging there doing nothing. They could be mining. There's no real reason for them to be there. Bling actually does not have a large enough army to really do anything. And Lau wants more information. He's going to send his factory over there, which of course indicates he has no interest in using any kind of mecha units at the moment. He's going to go purely for Marines, Marauder, and Medivac, which is as standard as it gets. And Lau's control allows him to do that an awful lot and actually do a great amount of damage with it without taking too many losses. In comes the scouting factory. It will be able to spot the robotics facility. It doesn't see the double forge unless, of course, it veers to the left. A lot of fire coming down in that direction. It might spot it. It does not, and unless it takes a left turn right now, it's not going to see it. That's going to go down. That's crucial for Bling.
And look at this, Bling is in a lot of trouble right now. This timing attack here from Lau is trying to punish, you know, Zealot leg charge, double upgrades, and that is what it's trying to hit now. Can these 1-1 finish? If this 1-1 finishes now for Bling, that's going to be so great, but he's going to get pylon blocked a little bit when that does go down. 1-1 is still not out. So basically, double forge, double upgrades, absolutely useless right now.
Well, let's see how he can hold it off. He's going to have to guard his shield goes up, so Lau not really willing to go in too much right now. Force field's placed down, trying to get him into a narrow corridor. Is he going to be able to hold it? Right now, that's good placement of the force field. Splits them up quite nicely. Now the Zealots caught in between this cliff edge and the force field, but Bling is able to repulse it. A double upgrades have just completed, and now Lau is being routed by Bling.
Yeah, double medivacs go down as well, which is so important for Bling. At the same time, a drop in the main base, doing a bit of damage here, trying to get some probes out, and at the moment he's not killed well. He's killed 2 probes, and it looks like it's going to be cleaned up as the Stalkers are going to come into the main base now as well, and that's pretty good. The Twilight Council's finished now. He goes double and chrono boost into double upgrades now, pushing for 2-2. +1, and only +1 is just about to finish for Lau, so a significant advantage for Bling in the upgrades. He's getting Zealot charge as well. He's looking so good in this game. 59 probes versus 40 SCVs. He's about to take a third base as well, scouting out the fact that Lau doesn't have a third base, is staying on 2 bases. You know, to be honest, Bling doesn't even need to take a third base right now. As long as he knows he's ahead in upgrades, he's ahead in unit count, he doesn't want to extend himself too far out.
Yeah, you're absolutely 110% correct. We've seen Bling do these big 2-base execution pushes. The whole point of it is just simply to decapitate your opponent before he can prove any greater threat in the longer macro game. Lau is going in once again. He will be able to spot that upgrades. He'll be able to spot the chrono boost on the upgrades. He might even be able to shut it down if he goes for it. He'll also see that the Twilight Council is actually doing something, so he'll suspect, of course, the Zealot leg upgrade. Lau trying to do some damage, but really he's not going to be able to do too much with this drop. It's not upgraded, and Bling easily shuts this down. But in the meantime, that was, of course, a feint, because he's going in with a big force there. The problem is they're already very badly damaged to begin with, and now the drop coming in from the side once again as Lau goes for the mineral line in the back, trying to stretch Bling to his absolute limit.
And he is indeed, and he's doing such a good job. Two Stalkers caught off guard here. Zealots have been whooped in. Excellent play from Lau. Really pulling and stretching Bling so thin right now. It's very hard to deal with these multi-prone attacks. And they continue again, dropping once again into that main base. The Medivac is so close to going down, but still remains alive. And at the main, there's another attack at the front.
Yeah, Lau's multitasking, as we said before in the previous matches in this tournament, is absolutely ridiculous. And it's really proving to be useful for him because Bling is being stretched. He's having to simply use all of his APM just to try and keep the defense up and is not really able to do anything else in the process. In the meantime, Lau is expanding once again. He's actually getting his tech up. He's going Mobius Reactor, so Ghosts are in the mix. And he's actually going +2 infantry weapon upgrade, but he's still way behind in that regard.
So Bling basically defended that so well. I cannot stress how well he defended that, took minimal losses from such a strong efforted attack there. He's now at 2-2 upgrades. +3 attack at 14 minutes in the game is on its way. Being chrono boosted out, the third base is saturated, 80 probes at the 15-minute mark. That's something for you guys to practice at home because that is hard to do.
Oh, yes.
And that is a lot of probes out now. And he's got Storm as well. He has High Templar, and he's in such a great position right now. And Bling's multitasking was the reason, the way you play that multitasking is, can you keep up with me? That's the question Lau asked, and Bling easily answered it.
Yeah, he was able to do it, and the defense did look a bit dodgy, but you've got to bear in mind that Bling effectively lost nothing economically. He lost no buildings, he lost no workers. You've seen the worker count. There's been 6 workers killed combined across these both sides the entire game. That is an incredibly low count. Both these guys have been defending extremely well against any kind of harassment. Bling now looking for an opportunity. He has one. The main problem he's going to run into is the fact that that's going to be a planetary fortress before this attack hits, but Bling will be able to throw an awful lot of power at it, so we'll see if he can blast his way through. In the meantime, Lau is patrolling. He's expecting an attack from the front. That's not where it's coming from, and that could be potentially lethal right here as Bling marshals his forces and prepares to go in.
4 Ghosts are out, though. They're going to be very vital. Always in this matchup, Ghost versus High Templar. Biggest action in the game. Who's going to win now? And they're going to be so careful, though. +3 attack is about to finish for Bling.
That will be a good timing attack, but I think he's going to be forced in a little bit to a big EMP right there in the middle of the forces. However, trying to shut it down. He's not able to stop them all from getting away. He needs to take the Ghost. Massive storm on top of the Ghost right there. As he lays down the firepower on the planetary fortress, which looks like it's going to go down. Another big storm. Now, Bling took huge losses, but he took that base out, and that's the main thing. Now he can retreat, and he has the economic upper hand at this point. Will he decide to prosecute this attack more? It looks like he might. He's got the upgrade count to make this happen, forcing Lau all the way back to his natural.
+3 attack is now finished, and +1 is still on +1. That is such a big difference. 1-0 versus 3-2 is huge. And now Bling pushes through. I mean, he doesn't necessarily need to do this, but he's got so many gateways, so many Zealots are being streamed in, and Lau is on the ropes.
Yeah, he's throwing everything he's got against him now. He wants to take this early lead in the best-of-5 series. Medevac goes down, bunkers crumpling under the massive firepower of these +3 upgraded Protoss units right now, and Lau is holding it as best he can, but honestly, he's got very little left. That bunker taking huge amounts of damage, but it holds, and Bling is thrown back for the time being, but he has something up his sleeve. Archons are on the way.
And he's also taken a 4th and 5th base at the same time. His natural's almost mined out. His main is almost mined out. He can immediately go and saturate both bases.
GG, ladies and gentlemen, the first game in this best-of-5 series goes to